switch your wife out and I'll put another one of your wife inside of her body. And they're walking around and you think that's your wife and it's not your wife. This is what's going on. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer spiritual. We figured out how to, turn into spirit and exchange the soul in order to control the vessel. So if I have the vessel and I'm just nothing but spirit, I can ruin your life. That's what everybody has been going through. So they can't recognize it unless you say things like the switch. So when they watch that and they see that there's other people that can identify other than me, it's not just me playing games. It's the truth. We have to be careful with who we want. You be in the car with Paul, man, but you really in the car with Peter. But that's Paul's body. But why is Peter in Paul's body? I've been going through this for a while in order to figure out and identify every soul inside of every vessel.
Yeah, I was trying to get him with his eyes open. Look at that fluoride stare. It's not sinking in. It's not even going in one and exiting the other. It's just not sinking in. It's not connecting.
To where we can all identify it, and it's not just me that can do it. We can all identify who we are. We can all say, you know what, we're still here.
So how do I know Orlando's in Orlando's body right now?
Ah, man, I would be 6 inches taller. Haven't you seen Kanye?
Why does Ray J look like Kanye now?
Probably because he is.
You say that a lot. You say a lot of people are other people.
Well, no, bro, you have to look at the vessel and look at how things work. If you love someone, you should know how they work inside of their own vessel. When they move that spirit to the next vessel, they still do the same.
Yeah. Welcome back to AF9 Deep Truth Files. They call me Ancient. Now, today we're going to be looking into various videos talking about body swapping and also like cloning theory, or is it something that's real? Don't believe me. Big brother, as I'm saying, don't believe me. This is for entertainment purposes only. So they call me Ancient. Stick around. We're going to jump into some more videos. Okay. Now, this is my kind of take when it comes towards like cloning. Now, in order to clone, you need like one individual is copied into the next version of them, next version. Now, the thing what I'm saying with cloning is that, say you have two like beings. I'm going to use two pen. So this, is cloned into someone else like this. You see what I'm saying? Now, if this originally one has the soul in it, then the soul should be copied over to here. But that means that you're telling me that the average man has got the ability to copy such a highly advanced energy system like the soul, which is connected to so many things. Etheric realms, can travel, dream, manifest. They can do so much things. They can just create that in a lab, as simple. So what I believe is that, yes, you may be able to copy the body, but you can't copy the soul. So that's why when they said, so I believe that there's more body swapping, such as like, in the movie Get Out. But the cloning, that's where my hiccup lies, where how are you going to copy the soul of the individual to move it over to create another one just in a lab because some guys created a formula for it, something so advanced. If they could copy and make the souls, trust me, they would have gotten rid of us some long time. They wouldn't need us. Why would they need us if they can make the engine, the source of life? You see what I'm saying? That's just my thing. But I hear what they say with the clone. I take it with a grain of salt. But check this one out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Epstein files are now saying that Britney Spears is cloned. We all wondered, what happened to the London look? Why does she have that gap in her teeth? It's because it's not Britney. The Britney Spears that we have seen, especially recently, is not Britney Spears. Who would put gaps in their teeth if they had perfect pearl whites? Remember Britney like this. This was Britney. This is Britney Spears. This is not. This is Britney Spears. This is not.
No, I think that yes, her body has been inhabited, because we know that even when you know that there's attached spirits can attach to you, even you by just walking to the shop and say you're feeling a bit low, here's an aura, you have your aura around, and if there's a crack in that aura, a fragment of crack in that aura, and you even walk past someone and they've got like a negative spirit, that spirit can latch onto you based on the crack in your aura, and you're wondering, why do I feel so zapped, so drained, and everything like that. I know about that. And also, even with the ancient Egyptians, they show it on the walls. Well, you can't go there in the temple anymore, you know. They show you that there are beings that can take over your body. You become possessed. So she's possessed. I will work with that, but to actually make a different being and copy her soul, then if you copy her soul should be doing as the original, not as what you tell her to do. So why would you make two stubborn beings? That makes not fully making sense to me.
This is Britney Spears. So Britney actually recorded a song called Original Doll. And here are some of the lyrics. The chorus says, she's the original. She's unforgettable. She wants you to know. Yeah, she's been cloned. It's caught him incredible. She's so unpredictable. Yeah. She wants you to know. Yeah, she's been cloned. She's been cloned. She's been cloned. And did this record come out? No, it was canceled for unknown reasons. What? I definitely feel like when Britney Spears was a judge on X Factor USA, it was still her. You can see the teeth there. I always just go by the teeth. The teeth really don't change that much. Whereas like a nose or your ears will grow as you get older. The teeth don't really change unless you get veneers or unless you chip your tooth, right? So I do feel like this still was Britney Spears, but did the crash out Britney? I don't know. And now that the Epstein files have this document saying that they like cloned her, you know, it's very interesting.
Now, with all the information going around about who's clone and that clone, whether you believe it or not, it's up to you, to be honest. But there's one company as well that it's called Clonaid. Now, Clonaid is an American-based human cloning organization registered as a company in the Bahamas, founded in 1997. It has a philosophical ties with the UFO religion realism, which sees cloning as the first step to achieve immortality. Now, people are going to say to you, cloning is banned. Cloning is banned from government funding, but not private funding. There's a difference. If you look the videos up, that's what you will see.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve between us. You knew that, of course. Some suggested it, and I thought it was a good idea, actually. You won't have the right name. And, you know, for a long time, I thought that this press conference will be with the baby, the parents, the scientists, everybody surrounding me, and having pleasure announcing it. I'm alone. And there is a reason to that, is that it hasn't been easy to face the world with this announcement. And we have been discussing with the parents the last 3 months how we would handle today. And they decided not to show up yet. They will. I hope they will. And I wish them well. We started really to work with human eggs in January of this year. So it took us 3 months to finalize, and this is very short, and that's why I said, is it luck or is it hard work? I do believe it's hard work. But we had really good success very quickly and refined the technique for human eggs until spring, where we started to have implantation. We had 10 implantations, and 5 of them during the first 3 weeks were terminated spontaneously. 5 others were successful and are still successful. The first one was born yesterday. The next one is due in Europe next week.
Now, that video you've just watched, it's actually from CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Commission. It's in their archives. You can go and look it up yourself about Clonaid and what they said. Don't believe me. Now, this is the latest one going around in the media. Everyone is talking about Jim Carrey. We know Jim Carrey, but we don't really know Jim Carrey right there. Let's see what's happening.
Well, team, it looks as though, allegedly, we lost another good one. Oh, but first things first, TikTok, you know me, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. All things stated here, just speculation. We're just thinking out loud. I got new boots, baby, new boot goofing. Let's go. Who is this, you might ask? Oh, that's Jim Carrey. Or is it? These are pictures of Jim Carrey after winning an award in France. And yes, of course, we all do age. We all get wrinkles and yes, gray hairs. But one thing that age never tends to do to us as humans is change our whole entire eye color. From Jim's notably and historically deep brown eyes, yet another beautiful example of these eyes. Eyes that over the years, no matter what character he has played, we've all known so well. Jim's deep brown eyes, like this, and these, and those. Now to these? What's that song? Gonna make your brown eyes blue? I wonder if they wrote it originally for Jim. Because I don't care how old you get or how much aging process happens to happen to you. One thing that science will always say, this, my friends, will not occur. Who is this masked man? See what I did there? Jim Carrey, by far, hands down, has always been one of the most vocal actors, prominent Hollywood figures, who has spoken out about the truth. He has never held back. In fact, he's been one of the ones that I've wondered, when will they get him? When will they quiet him? When will they shut him up? Sadly. Because Jim Carrey, he had it dialed in, my friends, and he had no fear when it came to speaking out. I'm going to show you a video clip of the new Jim talking as he had won an award in France. Just the tone and inflection in his voice, it ain't him, babe. But I noticed something. Something that whoever's in charge of the new Jim had clearly not thought through. And I'll get to that in a second. Roll the clip.
Trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's, then I watched everybody talking 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes.
There's a clue right there. There's the Easter egg. He said he's unalive.
And I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried.
Yeah, that wasn't creepy at all. That was not Jim Carrey's tone, affliction, nor his normal behavior. Like I said, whoever's in charge of the new Jim Carrey overlooked a very, very important thing. Did you know that Jim Carrey was born in Canada? Where prominently English and French are both spoken. Not only are both English and French spoken, but they are also mandatory and were mandatory when Jim was in school to learn. Since he was born in 1962, he was in elementary school at the time that the Canadian government made it mandatory for all students in English language schools to learn French. Because Carrey was growing up in Ontario, French had been a mandatory subject in English schools in Ontario since the early 1900s. However, the requirements changed a lot in Ontario. First, French started out being taught in first 2 years of formal education in Ontario. Then it was changed to being permanent as a subject of study for 1 hour a day. In Ontario, it is mandatory for students to learn French from grades 4 to 8 and earn 1 French credit in high school in order to graduate from high school. When Carrey was in school, French would have been a mandatory subject from him in grades 7 through 9. He would have learned some of the basics in the language and pronunciation. That's odd. Because the Jim Carrey we just saw, well, the way it sounded was he was just now trying to piece together some sort of a speech in French like a novice, as if he'd never had roots or education in French at all. But wait, there's even more. Because aside from his education in Canada, where it is mandatory for the students to learn French, whether he had learned it in school or not, did you know that Jim Carrey's roots are rooted in France? Because his father's side actually comes from there, and they speak French. It's through Jim Carrey's father, Joseph Carrey, that Jim has a very deep French roots. That side of his family immigrated to Canada from France in the 16 to 1700s. His ancestors lived in Quebec, Canada's French-speaking province, for generations before moving to Ontario. Throughout his entire time there, their last name was actually Carrey. You're telling me Jim Carrey's whole dad's side of the family, they speak French? Something seems amiss. As the novice French speaker Jim Carrey that we just saw, he wasn't novice at all. He had school education in learning mandatory French, and his father's side came from France and were French-speaking people. And ironically, speaking of his dad and his father's side, in this speech, he speaks about his dad.
I wanted to recognize my family. I wanted to recognize my dad. I mean, my dad was the type of person that if you met him for 5 minutes, you felt like you knew him for 50 years. You know? I can't talk about him without getting him.
I said Jim Carrey was very vocal. He did not hold back when it came to telling the truth. Jim Carrey wowed the audience and everyone watching Jimmy Kimmel the night he was on by doing this symbol. Jimmy Kimmel awkwardly, and notably awkwardly, respond with, "Is that a gang sign?" He really let nothing stop him. "Oh, like you don't know what that is. Really? You have no idea?" It's not just what I thought, but that's what Carrey said to him. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know. All the comics and show business don't know what this is. That. Jim Carrey went on to say, it's a secret symbol of the Illuminati. All mocking tongue. Of course, in Jim Carrey fashion, he did it again. Continuing to say, for years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to distract you, make you laugh, stuff like that. Make you happy and docile. You don't know what's really going on. Jimmy Kimmel just sits there awkwardly and laughs. Jim Carrey responds with a look at him trying to cover it up. It's hilarious. Hilarious. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn us into consumers. Drones of some sort. I'm sorry, Jimmy. And then he did it one more time for the people in the back. Saying the quiet part quite out loud. But even with all of that being said, there's one.
3 times. 3 times he dropped the signal. Jim Carrey is a very bold character talking about, I don't want to talk about it. That's not Jimmy. Jim Carrey is bold. Jim Scary now, yeah.
One truth you cannot hide because the eyes don't lie. Jim Carrey's notably brown, beautiful brown eyes is haunting brown eyes. A little bit more haunting now, don't they? Because now his eyes are green. Math is not mathing. Just like they always have to do, they have to tell us the truth right to our face. Perhaps in that speech, the new Jim Carrey did.
I'm dead.
That is true. They have to tell us, but how they tell us? No, there is where the plot twists.
Confirmed to not be the real Jim Carrey. It's just come out that this was an impersonator. The person who's taken credit for the performance is Alexis Stone, who's a known artist who has done...
This, to me, looks like damage control. They're just trying to insult our intelligence and telling us, oh no, it's a plastic, whatever mask that is. But let's play along.
...this before. Alexis stating that they had done it on Instagram not long ago and showing a bit of the process. They're better known for the work from Kim Kardashian, turning her into a lizard. Here's some of the other work from the past, and obviously impersonating known people is something that this person has done before.
You can clearly see when you look at that picture of Cruella. Sorry, the video of Cruella. That's a fake mask versus Jim Scary.
But I mean, to be able to pull off...
Look at Jim Scary. Does that look like a mask to you? You be the judge.
Jim Carrey, well done. A lot of people were fooled. Obviously, the internet went wild and sort of looked at whoever this person was and said, hell no, that's not him. And good on those people, and good on you for being called a conspiracy theorist and then turn out to be correct.
Another video from AF9 Deep Truth Files. They call me Ancient. Thank you guys for sticking around. Go and do the right thing. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Right now, I'm out of here. Peace.